In this video, I want to talk a little bit about subjective value. Now, this is another huge subject, but I'd like to share my first thoughts that come to mind for now. When I think about subjective value, I think about you having the capacity to change your perspective in such a way that it literally can change your experience, that it can change the way you feel about something. So now I really want to dig out the concept of subjectivity and the concept of value. Value in and of itself is objective, but subjectivity means that it depends on how you perceive or interpret something. Now, the way you experience, for example, music or a painting or a landscape or a movie or a person or food or whatever, there will always be an interplay between the actual objective experience and the way you interpret that experience, which in turn can alter that experience. Now, how can you alter an experience by changing the way you perceive it? Well, for example, by simply having an open mind and allowing the experience to be experienced more deeply. When you stare at a painting, for example, you can try to focus more deeply on it and thereby allowing your mind to make more associations with it, associations which come from your subconscious mind and which can evoke new specific feelings and experiences. And that's what I'm doing right now, for example. I am focusing on this subject, which causes my subconscious mind to be activated, causing ideas to rise to the surface, which in turn causes new perspectives, which causes particular experiences in my consciousness. Right? So, what about value? By focusing so much on one particular thing, I am making it valuable. When you give something your full attention, you are allowing that thing to enter your consciousness where it can be processed and evaluated. Just like you, as a listener, are doing right now. If you are still listening attentively to this, you are turning my message into something valuable by evaluating it. If not a single conscious mind is listening to this video, then it becomes perfectly meaningless in and of itself. However, since I am the person who is producing this video, and let's say I'm the only one who is listening to myself, I can create meaning out of it and turn it into something valuable. However, when you can't share something with anyone, the feeling of uselessness and hopelessness starts to rise, and that's something important when it comes to subjective value. Because value as such can only exist in a conscious mind. But when there is no conscious mind around, the very thing that you want to share basically doesn't exist. Take the Voyager spacecraft, for example, which contains the golden record with data about the human race and planet Earth. And it's waiting to be consciously interpreted by a distant extraterrestrial intelligent life form. Now, as far as we know, not a single conscious mind has ever acknowledged the existence of that record. So until now, our message out there in space is perfectly meaningless. It's like making a whole bunch of music or videos, but nobody gives a damn about it. Let's say you have a YouTube channel and you have been uploading hundreds of videos for years in a row, but you barely get views, you never get any likes, you barely have subscribers. That's rather depressing, isn't it? Why is that? Because nobody is acknowledging the existence of your videos, so it feels utterly meaningless. It feels like it doesn't bring any value. So the value of it highly depends on other conscious minds and the way they evaluate your work. But is that really so? Is happiness or value only real when shared with others? Why is it so goddamn depressing when you are the only one in the world that tries to value your own work or that tries to value whatever you're doing. Being neglected, ignored, forgotten, evaded, ghosted, etc., gives us the strong feeling that we are not valuable, that we don't mean a thing for anybody. Another example is, let's say you run a marathon under 3 hours, but at the finish line there is nobody to applaud you. There is nobody to congratulate you. You are the only one at the finish line. There is absolutely nobody or nothing else that can give meaning to what you just have accomplished. Now, does that make running a marathon valuable and meaningful? Or would it feel utterly meaningless since nobody is around to give it meaning? Are you mentally strong enough to value yourself all the time, even though there is nobody that can value you? In my opinion, that's very, very difficult. However, for example, in a child's mind, or maybe in an animal's mind as well, whatever you are doing or whatever you are perceiving feels very valuable most of the time, because a child or a toddler has no other reference to base its experiences on. A baby, a toddler, a child, is always living in the present moment because it doesn't have the capacity to compare its life experiences with other experiences. For a toddler, most experiences are very new experiences. It perceives many things for the first time, and that's why the value of that experience is what I would call an absolute experience. When you experience something for the first time, it's an absolute experience. Whereas for us adults, we have experienced the same things millions of times, so we are able to compare many, many experiences with each other. And in this way, everything becomes very relativistic. Nothing is new about it. Been there, done that. And it's difficult to value the same experience the same way for thousands and thousands of times. So when a toddler is playing at the beach, for example, and let's say the toddler is completely alone, caught up in its own world, he might be enjoying that experience very, very much. So that experience becomes very valuable. Whereas we as adults, if we sit down at the beach, we might enjoy it for a moment, but very quickly we might start to think about all the horrible stuff that is going on in the world. Our minds very rapidly starts to wander off, thinking about many other things which are unrelated to your present moment experience. But you see, every time your mind wanders off, all those thoughts have an effect on your present moment experience. All those thoughts will alter your present moment experience, thereby changing the value of it. You can be sitting at the beach while dealing with the knowledge that many innocent young soldiers are dying in horrible ways at the battlefields of Ukraine. So what do? You force yourself to ignore that knowledge and you try to focus on the present moment. Now, toddlers, they don't have any problem with that. They can fully enjoy their present moment experience, because for them, the war in Ukraine literally does not exist. So, for me, subjective value is really simple. Whenever your mind or your subconsciousness is actively interfering with your present moment experience, it will definitely alter your experience of that present moment. So, if you really want to have an objective experience, all you need to do is to train your mind to stop interfering that much. All right, so there is so much more to say about this subject, but for now, that's all I can think of. Okay, so in the next video, I will probably mostly be talking about objective value, because there are experiences which are, I think, impossible to change by simply changing your mindset. For example, experiences like suffering, pain, agony, and stuff like that. So that I will be talking about. All right. So okay, that's it once again. Thanks for listening, and hopefully I will see you in my next video.